In this video, I am going to talk about and show how I do my T injection, or testosterone, as well as give a bit of background about when I first started taking it and how I take it and all of that. So I do my injection every 3 months, every 12 weeks, and the type of testosterone that I take is called Nebido, which is an intramuscular injection. There are lots of different types. Some of them you can take more often. There's also a gel, which you put on your body every day. I think I started taking Nebido essentially because it was the one that the doctor recommended to me when I first started taking tea. It's the only type of tea that I've ever taken, and I get my tea levels monitored less often now than I did when I first started taking it, but still every now and then. But at the beginning, I was getting my tea levels measured every time that I took the injection, just before, so they would be measuring at the trough, as it was called. I started on tea when I was about 16, so I've been taking it for 12 years now. And when I first started, I would go to the GP every 3 months and he would do the injection for me. After a while, because I wanted to go traveling and I wanted to have the flexibility of not needing to go to the doctors every 3 months, I started doing it myself. And at first, I would still go to the doctors and he would teach me and monitor me and make sure I was doing everything properly. And that includes things like making sure that the needle doesn't get put down on the table or anything like that that could pick up some infection or bacteria. Obviously, making sure the needle is switched. So the needle that goes in to get the testosterone out of the ampule is switched out for a different needle that actually pierces my skin. That means that if there's any little bits of dust or bacteria on the seal, that I'm not putting them into my body. I think when I first started doing it myself, I was a little bit nervous because it's quite an awkward injection. Because it's intramuscular, I have to kind of lean around and do it in my bum. It goes in the upper outer quadrant, which I'll show here with my pants on. Obviously, I do it straight into my skin, but I can't show that. And yeah, the doctor showed me the right area to do it and the ways to do it carefully. Because the liquid is quite thick and syrupy, it's quite a slow injection and it takes quite a while to go in. There's some benefit to doing it slowly. It can make it a little bit less sore, but at the same time, the slower it is, the longer the whole thing takes. So I have quite a nice speed now. I know how to do it and I just get on with it. I have had some issues with it in the past. Once I was doing it at home and I guess my breathing was kind of irregular, or I was maybe panting or trying to hold my breath, because if I'm breathing in and out too much, it can move my hand around. But I wasn't really conscious of that. And without realizing, I'd pulled the needle out right to the edge and suddenly it slipped out. And I'd only done about 2/3 of the injection. But at that point, it's out. You can't put it back in. Even if I'd had another needle, I think doing 2 penetrations, even with 2 different needles, wouldn't have been a good idea. So I discarded the rest and then just adjusted the time before I did my next one. And that was something I spoke to the GP about and he advised me about. Also, last year, once I did the injection, and then as soon as I'd finished, I had a really horrible coughing fit, like a really chesty cough, and I felt really breathless. And it seems strange that that would be connected to the injection in some way, but I looked online and apparently it is a random, strange, possible side effect of intramuscular injections like this. But it had never happened before, so it was kind of strange and not very nice. Apart from that, I tend not to have any issues with it. I'm very used to doing it now. I guess I have never really been scared of needles or anything like that, so I don't have any concerns about injecting myself. Afterwards, the area is a little bit sore, and that varies as well. Sometimes I won't really feel it, and sometimes when I'm walking, I'll feel a bit of soreness for a couple of days. I always try to time my workouts so that I've just done a leg day or a cardio day or something, so that the day after I do my injection, I'm not doing anything that's going to engage those muscles. So tomorrow, no squats, no deadlifts, definitely no hip raises or anything using my glutes, and no running or anything like that. I definitely think it helps the recovery to kind of rest it. As you can see, it takes me a really long time to get the actual liquid out of the ampule. It's very thick. It's easier when it's warm. So in warmer weather, when the ampule's been sitting in the cupboard and the room temperature is warmer, it's easier because the cold weather makes it a little bit thicker. It comes out a bit slower. So I just sit there, I have to be patient, use a bit of gravity and a bit of pressure to pull it out into the syringe. These are 5 ml syringes and the injection's 4 ml. and that's how much to the ampule, so I use the whole thing each time. One other thing I have to be aware of is that since I'm doing these injections at home, I then end up with what is essentially medical waste. So the needles and things can't go into a normal bin. You can get rid of them at some pharmacies, but I generally take them to the sexual health clinic because obviously as a sex worker I go very regularly to get checked. So I just hang on to them until my next appointment and then get rid of them there when I go. I think that's it. I hope this video was a little bit informative, but feel free to comment any questions if you have any. Bye.